Hi, my name is Jesslin, and the New York Times article that I picked out was Who Gets to Be Beautiful Now? The idea of this article is basically how we see beauty as fit, and no one else can change that idea, whether it be how we enhance ourselves by makeup or what we think is right, not what other people perspectives and viewpoints are. The summary of this article basically talks about the negative aspects that social media has on us. And we sometimes change ourselves because of that influence. And we sometimes lower our self-esteem because we sometimes compare ourselves to others when we shouldn't be. We are at a time period where we should change our mentality and have the freedom of what we want to be. We shouldn't be pushed back by others and because of what other people think and because we're scared or afraid because people think that's not right. The course concepts that I'll be going over is first chapter 1, which is called A Feminist Psychology of Women. The subtitles of those chapters are called Cultural Feminism, which will be talking about the traditions, identifying sex, gender, bias, and research, which will be talking about our identity and how research influences us. And then in chapter 6, we're talking about women's bodies, the subtitles of that will be Beauty Matters, which talks about how we are negatively feeling pushed back because of how beauty is a big aspect in society. And then another subtitle will be how we learn about beauty norms, how we be influenced by other people's viewpoints of beauty, whether it be celebrities, parents, peers, your friends, your close loved ones. So in the first chapter, Cultural Feminism, we talk about tradition, how a woman and a man are put in this category where a woman has to be feminine. She can't show her masculinity. She can't show her confidence, her aggressiveness, her competitiveness, whereas a man could show all of that. We learn in this textbook page in this chapter about how a woman can show empathy, can show sadness, could cry, could show emotion, but a man could only show aggressiveness, confidence, competitiveness. He can't show anything sad, emotion. He can't let his emotions flow out. Another example could be when a girl wears makeup to enhance her beauty, whereas it's very uncommon for a guy to wear makeup for a very long period of time. Nowadays, the world is slowly breaking those aspects and breaking those boundaries, and it's kind of normal now for a guy to wear makeup. Another thing is a woman shouldn't be closed off from things just by traditions alone. She should have the freedom, the confidence to express who she wants to be and not what others want her to be. We shouldn't be closed off because of society standards. We don't need the permission of others because that's what they want. We should only push forward for our choices, not what others think. In this article, we see that no matter whether your race, your ethnicity, your sexuality, we can all be beautiful as long as we believe in ourselves and not what other people think or their perspective on things. In chapter 1, we also are talking about identifying sex, gender bias in research. Research and the internet has been a major source of information, and we always get influenced by it. Same thing with social media. Sometimes social media can come with a negative light. We get influenced by it and we feed onto it. And because of that, it can cause some negativity. We start to compare ourselves, whether it be celebrities such as YouTubers, influencers, models. We always see them looking picture perfect, but we don't know what happens behind the scenes. So it can cause us to feel like we are comparing ourselves because they look picture perfect, which is not true. In the textbook, when we research, it influences our decisions. Sometimes what we see in the media about a celebrity it's not always true. And we fall for it. And this is what we call fake news. Sometimes people feel uncomfortable and insecure under their skin because they don't feel like they're under society's qualifications. We live in a world today where people discriminate still, whether it be your identity, ethnicity, beauty, how you look, because if we have acne, for say, people don't consider that as beautiful, whether we start to feel uncomfortable showing our skin. So we always cake ourselves with makeup just to be under society's standards. In this article, we see that we live in an area where anybody could wear makeup. That shows that we're slowly progressing and breaking standards. It doesn't have to be a woman that's wearing makeup, but also a guy, which is a good thing because we're slowly breaking away from those traditions and allowing other people to experiment makeup and not just women alone. Another chapter we talk about is chapter 6, which is about women's bodies. When we see a model such as a Victoria's Secret Angel, we sometimes be like, oh, I wish I was like them. Skinny, flawless, good looking, but we shouldn't be on that scale. We should be more onto ourselves. We don't need to be someone that we're not. We don't need the satisfaction of others to make us genuinely happy. As long as we push forward to something we want and it's our own decision, that's what makes everything possible. For example, when you look for a job or something you want to do later in life, you don't always want to be in that same standard where everyone wants to be an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor. You can pick something you want to do and you're comfortable with. Being someone and pushing forward for something that other people want, it's not always right. If your parents are pushing you to do a certain thing because they didn't do it in their lifetime, doesn't always seem to be the right answer because it's not something you want. In the textbook, we also talk about a Dove campaign. In this campaign, it's like one of those movements where all the walks of life, like there's diversity, we're breaking boundaries, race, ethnicity, everyone's coming together and showcasing their true selves. Same way in the article, they talk about how slowly all members of society can roam freely out of their house wearing makeup and not be criticized for who they want to be. Another textbook page that we talk about in chapter 6 is how we learn beauty norms. We always see it on social media, our influencers on YouTube, any type of celebrity, we're always influenced by their beauty norms, but not just media alone. We can be influenced by our parents, our peers, anyone close to us, our loved ones. They are all examples of how they influence us. In the textbook, they also give an example how when a mother feels very degraded and like about her body, that can also feed onto the daughter and she will have that same negativity on her. Same thing with a father and a son, the same thing will feed onto each other and they'll feel low self-esteem and they'll feel depressed. Whatever our parents teach us, we feed onto that and we're basically influenced by it. Not just parents alone, but our peers. Whatever they see as fit in their viewpoint, we sometimes feed onto it and we are influenced by their views too. In this article, they also talk about how celebrities are degendering that idea of makeup. When big influencers and big celebrities that we watch and we admire, they also influence us and it boosts our self-esteem to not be afraid to open up. Some future considerations that we should do in the future is address how we can break the society standards, implementing new plans, changing people's viewpoints, having the confidence to help others and provide sources, research, data of how people change over time and how society has changed over time about breaking the boundaries, breaking the standards of beauty and society. And in conclusion, no matter how degrading we feel or what others feel, we should have the ability to fight back. We should have the confidence, and we don't need others to be pushed back. We need to confide in ourselves and not because of others. If we try to change because of others, we're not satisfying ourselves, but we feel dissatisfied. If there's a will, there's always a way. If we try, there's always a way for things to change. Like, for example, if in an exam, if we push and practice and practice and practice, sometimes we meet with failures, but as long as we practice, there's bound to be a breakthrough, and we're slowly learning. And with that, we're bound to not make the same mistake, and it will be pushed in our brain not to make that same mistake, and we get better scores, and it boosts our self-esteem. Same thing, if we don't feed onto others and if we continually build up our confidence, we'll be immune from the haters, immune from what other people think, and it helps us.